This is the Note Closers Show, where you get the latest developments in distressed note investing and learn the secrets of how you can control millions of dollars worth of property for pennies on the dollar. Get educated and entertained by someone who has closed thousands of deals and lives to support you in achieving the same. Now, here's your host, CEO of We Close Notes, Scott Carson.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Welcome to this episode of the Note Closers Show. I'm Scott Carson. I am your excited host as always. Hopefully you're having a great Friday. For those that have joined us live on Facebook, hey, it is Friday. For those that are listening on the podcast, you're probably listening to this early part of the week. Hopefully you had a great Friday and a great weekend. But today's topic is something that's kind of funny. Is I posted something out there yesterday on my drive to Houston, and I'm coming to you live from Houston as I'm actually out here to watch Game 2 of the Astros versus the Boston Red Sox. In Game 1, historic José Altuve, the 5'6" second baseman for the Houston Astros, hit 3 home runs in a playoff game. Only the ninth person to do that. First since 2012, since my team, my biggest fan team, the San Francisco Giants, Pablo Escobar hit one in the World Series. But I'm here because I really love the atmosphere of playoff baseball. Don't get me wrong, I'm a huge baseball fan. All right? Huge baseball fan. And I just absolutely love the atmosphere of playoff baseball, no matter where it is. Okay? Yes, I am a very big Minnesota Twins fan, grew up them. I'm also a very huge San Francisco Giants fan. And very blessed that, the Giants won 3 World Series in 5 years. We were there for several NL Championship Series. I love to come to baseball games because it really allows me about 3 hours just to kind of sit there and relax, sit there, enjoy myself. I can kind of unwind a little bit. Of course, having a dog and a beer is always a good thing too. But it's nice to sit there and relax and appreciate the sounds and the atmosphere of a game. And the energy in the stadium is always, it's like the bottom of the ninth tied game. It's always exciting. It's just everything. Everybody hangs on every pitch, every out, every strike. And it's just great to see it, especially when the home team wins. If you're rooting for the home team, that is, of course. One of the biggest things is in all our travels over the last few years, when it was a regular season game, we always rooted for the home team. Always rooted for the home team because it's just scary. Because honestly, unless it's those 3 teams, the Twins, the Giants, or the Astros, we're rooting for the home team. And we've been very lucky. We've been to playoff games in St. Louis, in L.A., in San Francisco, very, very for Atlanta over the past, decade as well for a variety of things. And it's just great. So I'm really looking forward to today. It'll be fun to catch up and just relax a little bit by myself, actually. My partner in crime is off in Orlando. She is enjoying Halloween Horror Nights at Universal Studios. That's great with some friends. That's completely fine. But just got the whim on a Wednesday afternoon. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and buy a ticket. And, basically with all our travels that we've done, this trip is basically free except for the gas money with the points, free hotel room from points and stuff like that. It's nice to be here. But anyway, today's topic is all about mistakes. And what does that have to do with baseball? On baseball, you make plenty of errors, right? And we can all think about some of the greatest errors in baseball. And it kind of ties in with Boston playing today. You have Bill Buckner, the first baseman, that main error in Game 6 of the World Series versus the Mets years ago, which the Mets ended up winning that game. And then they won the series in Game 7. But everybody knows about Billy Buckner's between the legs, that slow roll between the legs. Another area you could say could be back when the Phillies were playing the Toronto Blue Jays and Mitch Wild Thing Williams threw a pitch across the plate that Joe Carter hit it out to the park to win the World Series. Those are probably the 2 most famous errors. Now, I'd say Billy Buckner's obviously a lot worse because Boston had the curse and everything like that, and they've obviously overcome that. So it's faded into, posterior lore, but they were all mistakes. And those 2 mistakes will haunt those 2 individuals for the rest of your life, or the rest of their lives anyway. You look at Chicago Cubs, who won it last year. the lovable losers, and Steve Bartman, the error he made as a fan at a game trying to catch that foul ball and interfering with Moses Alou in the playoffs a few years back. That's a mistake that guy's hidden that never recovered from. The beautiful thing about note investing that I love is that you can make some mistakes and still recover and still be fine, as long as you keep playing the game. All right. And I've been playing this game for over a decade now. It's hard to believe that. I look back in the last 10 years and kind of crack up. I have a lot more gray hair. You can't really see it here because my youthful looks anyway, for the most part. But in the right sunlight, with my hair gets a little bit longer, as Steph is fond of saying, you're getting old man. But anyway, just cracking up. I look at all these gray hairs as mistakes that I've overcome. And I think that's one of the biggest things that you have to realize as a real estate entrepreneur. You're going to make mistakes. And if you're going to sit there and try to dive in and protect yourself from every little mistake you could possibly make, you're never going to end up pulling the trigger. Okay? I think that's one of the biggest things that I could tell you is you can't overanalyze everything. And a lot of people are really good at overanalyze paralysis. Okay? You can't do that. And I'm trying to pull it up here so you guys can ask questions along the way here. And I appreciate everybody that commented on my post yesterday as I was traveling out here. What should we talk about today? And hang on here. I do appreciate everybody that commented because it gave me some great topics for next week and for the next few ones. Because we love doing this show. I really enjoy it. It's one of my great marketing pieces we do on a daily basis. And it allows for me to really stay communicated with our tribe and our friends and our family out there making things happen. So, Karina, you have a really good comment there. There are only two types of experiences: success and learning experiences. Yeah, you've heard the comment, fail forward. You can't fall on your face without moving forward towards your destination. And trust me, I have fallen on my face many a time. And when it separated me from a lot of the other crowd, and why I've been around for 10 years through the ups and the downs and the things like that, is I didn't let my mistakes stop me from making traction. I didn't have my mistakes stop me from taking action. Many people will ready, aim, but they'll never fire. All right. And thanks, Brady. Just saw that. Yes, you will own your own team. It will happen. It's funny. I do have a passion and a dream to own a minor league baseball club at some point. I don't necessarily think I want a Major League Baseball team, but I would love to own a minor league baseball team somewhere. Just fun and just the marketing aspect of it is something there. But to get there, I'm going to have to make a whole lot more mistakes than I do now. And I have to grow. That's the only way you get outside of your comfort level. And is to grow is to do things that aren't comfortable with you. And you're going to make mistakes. Look, I always like to make fun of the fact that we have two diligence checklists. And many of you have reached out for that since we went through that on our earlier episode. And so thank you for listening and thank you for reaching out. There's a short checklist. Boom, go through it. It's going to cover about 90% of the time. And then, of course, there's the engineer's wet dream, which is a 21-page checklist that covers every little detail. If you had to go through that checklist, you would barely ever, really, especially in today's market, never get a bid accepted because they'd all be bought up and gone by the time you get around to it. And do we make mistakes? Yes. Do we miss some things? Yes, we miss some things. Okay. But the biggest thing I can tell you this is if you're covering 90% of your bases, you're going to still do very well. I'm just going through the questions here. Yeah, I have failed more times than most people have ever tried. And that's one thing, as Michael Jordan is famous for saying. Thanks, Grant, for bringing that up in there as well. He's missed more game winner shots than most people will take. Most people have died before they ever stepped on the court. So I just want to share some of my biggest mistakes. All right. So one of my biggest mistakes early on was, and I think a lot of people think about this, is I thought I really needed a partner. I thought I needed to have a business partner to make things. And actually, that's a mistake that I've made a couple times. Bringing on business partners that didn't have the same work ethic and didn't have the same beliefs in me and weren't as invested as much as I was. I had when I first brought my first partner on, it was as I was in the mortgage industry, and brought a buddy of mine on who it brought me into this business, and I thought it was a way to kind of, hey, help me out with this. I'll bring you on. I'm willing to do the work. Let's have you done. And his work ethic wasn't the same. It's not saying he was a bad guy. We're still friends to this day. It's just that he didn't have the same drive to get, he wasn't as hungry as I was. So there was a lot of kind of, tiff there. I mean, there's a lot of friction. I'd be in a house on a weekend. I mean, and when I was married, me and my wife would be there at the house on the weekends working to get it fixed and cleaned up so we get it sold. And he's babysitting his kids so his wife can go to a concert. And I'm like, you got to be there. All right. I'm not the one finding the deals. And then I eventually found the money for stuff. So why did I need a partner when they're going to pull in place? I have seen that mistake made by many investors out there as well, where they get two people together that don't have the same responsibility, or three people. And this is, especially when you get beyond two, I've never seen a partnership last long-term where you get three chiefs. Okay. You don't have enough Indians doing the work when you have too many chiefs. I've seen this happen multiple times. People that were four people came together to partner up. It didn't work out because one person ends up doing the work, or they rely on the other people to get the work done, and don't take it as serious. Things happen. We actually had that happen one time. We allowed three people to come into Austin for our mastermind fast track training, and by the end of the weekend, it was done. They were divorced. Two the ladies stayed together. One person went their other way. It wasn't that they were bad people. It's just that one person had more of a drive than the other two. The other one person took it more seriously. Now, just didn't have the same work ethics. Just didn't look at the same things. Didn't mean they were bad people, and both groups have been very successful. It's just the partnerships don't work. I had another partner who was not as positive, who was always kind of, the world's against me. It's a negative place. And that ended ugly as well, because I was always taking one step forward or two steps forward and one step back, trying to drag that person. If you've got business partners you've got to drag, or people or friends that surround you, you got to drag them to get something done, you're not going to be successful. The second biggest mistake that I have made is not firing people soon enough. Okay. And this comes from, I've had assistants, I've had people that work for me. This is not at all. My staff now is phenomenal. My staff is amazing. So I'm not talking about any of my staff, Nicole and Greg and Jennifer. Of course, Steph's been around, but Steph's not really staff. She's part of the WCN crew, but she's more a true partner than an employee, obviously. I had people that worked for me that just didn't do a good job. Well, first of all, when you find an employee is going to lie to you once, they're going to lie to you again. You got to get rid of them. And that's sometimes the hardest thing to do, is to let people go, is to fire people because you want to give them an opportunity. But if they're not going to do the right thing, you catch them lying once, they're going to lie to you again. And so that's where you see a good employee is great, but a bad employee, you just got to cut that dead wood and move on. The same thing with vendors. I think that's the biggest thing too. Is we've had vendors we let hang around a little bit longer than we should have, and we should have just gone ahead and nipped the butt and moved on with it. So those are a couple biggest mistakes. Get rid of the people or the vendors around you that don't come to the table, like they don't do what they say they're going to do, and they're going to constantly disappoint you. Okay. Why do I look so handsome? Matt asks. I don't know. My hair. I need to get a haircut. Is what I need. It's getting a little longer for me. I don't like it on the sides. I'm wearing a collared shirt versus a t-shirt. I'm in a hotel room in Houston. I don't know. It's the glowing sun through the window here. Is that right next to Minute Maid Park? Thanks, Matt. I appreciate it. Another thing that you have to realize too is a big mistake is you have to understand your value. And I see this. I see people that come into the investing game and then they have business partner or people that they respect that want to partner up, and they end up taking on an employee mindset again. I don't care what your number is, what your struggles are. I mean, yeah, I get it. You want to make money. You've got to have your bills paid. But if you go into the employee mindset where somebody's paying you a salary, most of the time, you're never get beyond that. And I don't care what your experience, if you've had partners that were ugly or people that were ugly to you, you can write your own book. You can write your own destiny with the note business or real estate business all together. It doesn't have to be notes. It can be whatever you're focused on the real estate side. You got to have faith in yourself. Now, early on, that was one of the things that I didn't have. I had lost my butt in a couple of real estate deals. I was getting my assets out of a sling. And that's why I thought I needed a partner to help out with things. Well, when I'm doing 99% of the work, it's very easy to either just find a vendor or pay somebody to do the other 5-10%. And I see that happen with people. People take a job with somebody else. They're getting a flat salary. Well, then they end up getting screwed in the back end because the partners aren't as vested in as your interest is. If that makes sense. All right. Third biggest thing, actually probably fourth or fifth. I don't know. We're running out. I'm just doing a brain dump with you guys on mistakes I've made over the year. And I see this happening, especially when people come to the table. They get so worried about, I've got to show that I can do this before I can raise capital. And that's not the case at all. Look, or I got to prove that this works. No, it works. There's hundreds and hundreds of investors. We've taught thousands of real estate investors how to buy notes. The proof is in the pudding. It's not with the actual buying a note deal that's the problem. The problem is with you in your faith in your own self. And sometimes we are capable of talking ourselves out of deals because we overanalyze things. Okay. But the numbers make sense. You got a realtor driving by, checked out the value and condition of the property. You double check the taxes, and then you're going to pull title O&E, double checking O&E. Hey, that's going to cover most of it's going to secure your investor's money. And the fact that you're going to buy it at the right price, hey, there's very few things that can go wrong afterwards. I mean, if you just don't do the work, if you don't service it or don't do anything with files, that's where the biggest problem can be. Okay. Another big mistake that I did early on was I didn't bid on more assets. I look back now and I look at all the tapes that I've looked at over the last 10 plus years, and I should have bought more early on. I should have made more offers. I let the fact that I didn't have a lot of private capital keep me from raising or making more offers on phenomenal deals. I should have bought a whole lot more deals earlier on when things were cheaper, but I let the fact that I didn't have my own money keep me from doing that. Now, of course, I'm a much better marketer now than I was 10 years ago. Now, I was pretty good 10 years ago because I just put stuff into play. And I get really excited when I see people that are putting things into play. I have to give a big shout out to Don Lucio at Houston. He just went through our fast track training. He's raised, I think, 50 to 100 grand private money from his continued marketing over the last 2 weeks. So kudos to you, Don. Donovan didn't let the fact that he didn't have a lot of private money. He had some relationships, don't get me wrong. He'd been trying to wholesale or sign owner finance notes and sell those off and kind of hitting the wall of stuff. But he came to the fast track. He made 60 offers. And honestly, Donovan already had some accepted. He's working through some of the counters and stuff like that. But I have to give him credit because the kid is hungry and he's coachable. And Donovan's out there watching today. Kudos to you, bud. You're doing the things you need to do. You're getting the word out. And I already see online people commenting, people liking. That's how you're raising capital. And so that's the most rewarding thing I get when people text me or call me, hey, I got an offering accepted, or I got an investor who's ready to fund some money. So they're ready for 50 or 100 and more things. That's what's rewarding in this line of work. That's what's rewarding as an educator who's doing the business, because I can actually give people what's working. I can tell them what's working. And I like to believe that we are a voice of experience, but we're also a voice who leads by example, not just talk about it. And that's one thing I really can't stand is when you have people out there talking the talk, but they don't walk it. They don't do the things that they should be doing. Whether it's talking about the deals that they're supposed to be closing, but they're not making offers, or the marketing that they're such an expert doing, but you don't see them doing it themselves. That's a very difficult thing. That's a hypocrite. Is when somebody tells you something, but they don't do it themselves. Or they talk, do as I say, not as I do. Well, F that. All right? Don't be that, okay? One of the biggest things, one of the mistakes I have made over the last years is at some points, and this is easy to do, is I got so busy with my education, I didn't buy deals that much. Now, we always have bought deals each year in, year out. But we got sidetracked with things, with travel and things. It's very easy to do. There's a year there. I didn't buy much because we were busy working on stuff that we'd bought before. And sometimes you're going to have that as a note investor. You buy stuff, you got to take some time to work through the assets that you've purchased. And it just ebbs and flows. And you build a team, you build experience. You also make mistakes along the way. Okay? Mistakes is I should not have trusted a realtor to drive by. Okay? Or there's so many of them that you make, but there's sometimes little mistakes. Most of them are little mistakes. Okay? A bigger mistake was I should never invested or brought on an investor I didn't have a good feeling about, because if they're an ass in person, they're going to be a bigger ass if you ever borrow money from them. And that's been another thing too, is we let some people come to the mastermind early on that I just didn't have a good feeling about, and we should have kicked them out earlier on. Okay. Fortunately, for the most part, we've got really good people in our mastermind. It's a no asshole area. I mean, we have to boot a few people out on an occasional basis or doing crappy things to other people, but it is what it is. We boot them out. They're done. They're blacklisted. But I think the biggest things I can tell you about, biggest mistakes, is not making enough offers and letting somebody else determine my self-worth. Now, I have probably more faith in myself than most people have themselves. I'm not afraid. I'm kind of like a bull in china cabinet. Either get out of the way or you can get the horns. Okay. We're going to get it done. It may not be the most gorgeous looking airplane that takes off and lands, but it's going to sure as hell get you there. We might have a few ups and downs and dips and some turbulence along the long way, but we're going to get you there. And I heard an analogy from somebody the other day that is that you have to get good at diving off of cliffs and building the airplane on the way down. And we've done that the last 10 years. But we always constantly evolve. We've had to adjust things. I think that's one big mistake I see a lot of note investors make, is they get so reliant on the low-hanging fruit, the exchanges that publish lists on a regular basis. And eventually the word gets out and those lead sources get oversaturated with buyers, not enough good product. Well, and the pricing goes up. What do you have to do? You have to go out and market. You have to go out and build a business. And I see so many note investors do that. So many note investors complain that pricing has gotten too expensive. Well, it's gotten too expensive because you're sitting there trying to buy in the same place you've been buying for the last 2 years or 3 years. You have to evolve. You have to go add new sources. You got to reach out to people. Look, and I always find it humorous when people complain about pricing expectations as how it was done 2 years ago. Well, yeah, it's changed. But if you get off your ass and call a bank or call a servicing company, you're buying in bulk, now that you've got an experience of 20, 30, 50 deals, it's not that hard to raise capital, $1 million in capital for people, and get better pricing. Quit bitching about crap and go out and build a business, build a market, learn how to market, and you'll get more deals in. Instead of sitting there, oh, woe is me, I'm going to sit here and nitpick on stuff. Look, quit being a nitpicker. Nitpickers never close on anything. They just sit there and turn into negative Nancy's, and that's not a good thing. And I think it's one biggest mistake is I have sometimes let negative people hang around longer than they needed to be. I've had negative people that I partnered with who were just a toxic cancer, not only to my business, but eventually your personal life. Because at some point you're feeling like you're walking around in eggshells trying to make the person happy. That's not a life. You should not have to do that. Okay. And so, that's an important thing. Surround yourself with good people. Go find and hang out with positive people. The truth of the statement that you're the average of the 5 people you hang around the most is true. Look at what you make and look at the 5 people you hang around the most with, and you're going to be an average of those. Okay. Now, if you look at the 5 people and your average goes down because of where you're at, you need to elevate to where you're at. You need to talk to more people. You need to hang around people that are closing more deals, or hang around people that are doing more business, raising more capital. Take yourself to the next level. Find out where those people network and go network there. Okay. And that's why I think it's been one of the biggest things that we have focused on too, is to try to raise our level. It doesn't mean we just hang around with the same people in the same industry. We take it to a different level. We go and join the Collective Genius Mastermind for a year. We go to the digital marketing convention to surround ourselves with 5,000, 6,000 other people that are doing great at digital marketing and helped us raise our level and put us above where a lot of people are at. Okay. Eric asks a question here. Have you ever funded a deal and passed off a seller asset manager? I don't understand the question. Oh, ever not funded a deal and passed off a seller asset manager? What did you, and pissed off a seller asset manager? Oh, okay. Not passed off. Okay. So yeah, there's been deals I've not funded. I called the seller up and said, listen, I'm not going to fund this deal. Our due diligence, when we finally got a property out there, or a property inspection, it's crap. Or the value's not 80 grand, it's 40 grand. So yeah, I've pissed plenty of asset managers off, but I always tell it like it is. Like, listen, here's the reason. Here's the reason for why we're not going to close on this. I've never just flaked and ducked tail and ran off. I've always communicated. And if they didn't like that, well, then it wasn't a relationship I needed to have anyway. Because if an asset manager is not going to respect you, doing your due diligence, and they're only out for themselves. It's not win-wins, it's win-loses at that point. And you don't want to be on the losing side of that relationship. You always want to be a win-win, Eric. So the biggest thing I tell you is the only time they have been pissed off is if we ever dallied on our due diligence. As long as we were working effectively within the time frames given and communicated. Now, sometimes asset managers want you to close faster than you can. And I'm just going to say, I have that happened last week. They wanted a fund in a portfolio before the end of the month. Like, I think I can do it. And they're like, oh, here, you're fine. I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to be able to do it. I can fund next Friday, but I can't fund this Friday. And I'm not going to jeopardize my investors just to make you guys happy by the end of the month. So don't be afraid to push back. Trust me, it's a good thing to have. No, I can't do it in that time frame. If they move the asset to somebody else, they move the asset to somebody else. It just wasn't meant to be. Some of my best things have come from assets that I didn't close on because eventually those turned to shit. Okay. Or the biggest mistakes I've always made is when I've gone outside of what my bread and butter was. When I started doing rehabs on higher valued homes, they took longer to close. There were less buyers for it. It took more money to rehab it. It wasn't like a bread and butter $200,000 value of a house for less. I went above that. I ended up not making as much money, and it was much more stressful. Gave me a lot more gray hair. Okay. All right. So, you're talking about a personal experience there. The kind of one we talked about. Okay. Sounds good. But look, you're going to make mistakes, everybody. Okay. Jason Bible. Hey, man, I reached out. It's okay. I would have loved to have been on the right path of real estate. We could have definitely do it. We'll do it again another time, Jason Bible, but thanks for reaching out. But kind of a last minute, just kind of come in trip and just to come in for the game and head back home tonight. So biggest mistakes. Another biggest mistakes I think I did. Sometimes you have to step away from an issue. Sometimes you got to breathe air into a situation. And that's where your mentors come in. It's good to reach out to your mentors and ask them a question. I had this happen last year, actually almost 6 months ago. I reached out to one of my mentors and I called him up. I left a message and he called me back immediately and he told me exactly what I already knew. I knew what was going on, but it was good to hear it from the outside in. And it just, your mentors there, reaching out to your mentors is a good thing. Talk to people. Anytime I have hidden something and I reach out to a mentor, it festered and made it a whole lot worse. Okay? Made it a whole lot worse. Now, you've heard the saying, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. If you can fix it, don't worry about it. If you can't fix it, don't worry about it. It's kind of true. I don't sit here and stress over things that I have no control over. It doesn't mean I don't worry about it a little bit, but I always try to put things in a appropriate setting. Okay. I'm not one of these people that constantly worries about the worst possible thing going wrong. Don't get me wrong. Our due diligence and the things that we do into our business, we think about that stuff. So we keep that in mind, but we don't sit there and constantly worry about the worst happening because what you focus on eventually happens. If you constantly focus on the worst thing happening, a lot of times it'll end up happening. What you have to realize, you're going to have good and bad. You have great deals. You're going to have some bad deals. A good note deal is like a base hit though. All right. And I got to give big kudos to Cody Cox. He's got a short sale that just got approved on and a deal he's been working on. It's like a base hit. He called me up to tell me that he got his approval in less than 10 minutes. Basically, he's just waiting on his final expenses. So kudos to our buddy Cody Cox for getting a deal done. But a good note deal is like a base hit. And you're just trying to get base hits done. You're not going to have 100 offers accepted. 100% of your offers are never going to get accepted. You might get lucky to get 30, 40% acceptance rate. But if you do that, you're going to have plenty of deals. The idea to keep in mind, though, is you got to make more offers. And that's one thing that was a mistake early on is I didn't set numbers of deals that I wanted to make offers. I didn't set a goal. It wasn't a KPI, a key performance indicator or goal that we had. Well, now I have that goal. Hey, here's what we want to do this year. We want to do 1,000 deals this year. We want to average, roughly almost 3 deals a day. Am I going to hit 1,000 note deals this year? No, but we'll probably get pretty close to half of that. And if we get close to half of it, that's still a phenomenal year. That still puts us at a high level of doing things. All right. So I'm going to miss on my goal, but I'm still going to end up in the stars. I'm going to miss the moon, but I'm still going to end up in the stars. Okay. And the biggest mistake I see so many investors make is they don't make enough offers. And we don't have enough deals. Well, then it's always it comes down to a marketing issue more than anything else. I don't have enough private capital. I don't have deals. Then market more. That's what the biggest mistake I see so many note investors make is they don't market. I got a phone call from a student of ours, 2 students, and they came to the fast track 6 months ago, and they're seasoned investors. And when I was sitting there talking with them on the last day of the fast track, going through kind of their business plan, I'm like, they didn't have anything about their marketing. And I knew that their marketing was their weakest link, their weakest resource. And I said, look, guys, you can go do all this bank reach outs and calling asset managers, but if you don't market, you don't set up your email list now, you're going to be effed later on. Oh, yeah, we're going to set it up. We're going to set it up. Well, sure enough, 4 months go by, I get a phone call. Oh, hey, we got a tape from a bank. Great. We need your help. What do you need my help for? With funding. I was like, well, and I already knew this. I said, have you sent an email to your database? Have you even put your database together? Have you even put your MailChimp together? If you do any of that stuff, they're like, no, we haven't done any of that. I'm like, bingo. And so you want me to do all the marketing for you to raise capital and give you basically my private funders when you won't even do the simple things you're supposed to do? And they're like, well, thankfully, they've raised money, they marketed, they reached out, they got some stuff done, and they had enough time to close that deal, which is kudos to them. But it was a mistake. They did not know. They didn't think they could need to do that. And sure enough, they needed to do that. And I will tell you this. I'm not sitting here telling you these things just to hear myself talk. All right. I do this because this actually works. The things I do and teach you to do work on a daily basis. They work on a weekly basis. They work on a monthly basis. Hell, you just take all the marketing things that we do and it'll work no matter what type of real estate business you're in, whether you're in fix and flips or wholesaling. The marketing aspect of what we teach works wherever you're at. I mean, I could be selling tiddlywinks. The note market could crash tomorrow. They could pass laws where we're no longer allowed to buy notes. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but I'm just saying if they did, I don't worry. Because I can take my marketing skills, the things that we do, and apply to other things. And that is one of the biggest mistakes I see investors make, is they don't spend more time on the marketing, more stuff on the deal flow. They spend all this time on the deals. Well, they're not going after more deals. They get deal focused, or as I like to say, emotionally involved in a deal. And I have done that. It was a mistake that I did sometimes early on too, because I got so focused on one deal, I stopped marketing for other deals. And I spent time, 3, 6, 9 months on a deal and it didn't close. So I now had 9 months of really not generating any income. That puts you in a stressful situation. You had some reserves, but not a good thing. All right. This is why we tell people all the time, hey, focus on the residential side. If you're going to go to the commercial sides and take more money, more time, but make your bacon on the residential. Get that stuff rocking and rolling. And then you can, as long as your bills and everything's covered, you got the cash flow coming, and then you have the time to focus on the commercial stuff. Okay. So let's see what questions do you guys have? Hopefully this is being valuable. Just kind of going through there. Yeah, Sterling, sorry to hear that you had that bad stuff going on with business partners. Okay. Thanks, Karina. Good morning, everybody. Thanks, Brady. I don't understand. You said you couldn't make lunch because you had an important business meeting. I don't understand what that means, Donovan, but good morning to you guys. Good morning, everybody. You're going to make mistakes. I will tell you this. The best thing to do is just own up to it. Don't lie about it. Hey, I just effed up, screwed up, but here's the solution. Here's how we're going to fix this. And that's all anybody wants to see, whether it's an asset manager you're not closing on. Hey, my money partner walked at the last minute, but I got a backup. Give me another 48 to 72 hours and I'll get this thing closed. Okay. Or, hey, my realtor drove by the property. It looked like it was good shape. Turns out it's not. We get inside. It's trash. Those things are going to happen. That's why we have insurance. Or this is what we're going to do. We're going to get this thing sold. We may just break even this one, but the beautiful thing is I've got other assets I can get you involved in. Okay. Those are simple things that you can do to cover mistakes, to help you in your mistakes or narrow times. Okay. I think you've got to love people. It's hard sometimes when some of the closest people to you will stab you in the back, and that's going to happen at some point to you guys. And that's the hardest thing, because you look back and you try to second guess, should I have helped that person out? Should I help the person? I promoted people? Should I have done what I did? To help them? Or should I have just been an ass and not? For those that know me, I got a big heart. I always want to help people. I'm always glad to try to help guide people down the road to make things better. And I think at some point, you can only help people so much. God likes to say, what am I saying? God helps those that help themselves. And if you're dealing with people that aren't helping themselves, they're not doing the things on a regular basis, you could bang your head against the wall, frustrated with that individual, but they're never going to pull the trigger themselves. They're never going to do the things you're trying to get them to do. Then you have to, at some point, just stop wasting the energy and go find somebody else that's going to help you out with that. And that's a mistake that we have made, is trying to help people who won't help themselves. And at some point, people will eventually get it. At some point, people will see the light and hopefully get it at some point, and hopefully come back and realize that, hey, yeah, you were right. You were there to promote me or there to push me to do things. And I should have taken better advantage of that. I should have done that and not taken advantage of it, but taking it more in stride to make things happen. And it's easy to get frustrated and jaded when you've helped people and they either, they turn on you or they run off or do other things. And that's unfortunately, it is what happens in real estate sometimes. It's what happens is we're all in business here. It is what it is. You can either sit here and cry about it and be upset about it and waste good energy chasing bad, or you can just say, screw it, cut it out, cut the cancer, get rid of it, and move on and start the healing process. And I think it's one of the biggest mistakes I see that people have made, is that you end up dwelling too much on the negativity versus focused on getting better and moving forward. You've always heard of the, whatever you focus on, you hit. Well, many people are so focused on that rearview mirror, they keep looking at their past versus what's going forward. They end up in a ditch because they're not paying attention. And it's one of the things I like to keep of you. If you're thinking you're on a journey, you're driving a car, okay? And I don't know, you're supposed to glance in your rearview every 20, 30 seconds or something like that. You always look up, see what's going on behind you or faster, but keep your eyes going forward and the road in front of you. That's where we're on. We're on that journey, driving that car down the highway or hopefully Autobahn versus in the slow lane. So we all start off in the slow lane. The goal is to get on the Autobahn. But too many people are constantly looking back at their past and letting that dictate where they go. I've been through divorce. Oh, I've been through bankruptcy. I've been through eviction, foreclosure. They use that excuse. My wife left me. My husband left me. My dog died. Okay. I got to move. Or people use their excuses from the past, and that guides them into the ditch in their future versus ripping that rearview mirror off and just being focused. And years ago, I think it was one of the best things that I ever did, which was one of the scariest things, was to literally sell everything in Austin, Texas, sell everything except the dog and my truck and some clothes, and then go on basically a 3-year discovery of getting on the road and talking with people. Not everybody can do that. I had no kids. I was divorced at the time, no business partner, just me, myself, and Princess. And we took off driving. And that was over, it was over 10 years ago. Golly, 10 years. That was 10 years ago. Yeah. Wow. No, I'm sorry. That was 7-8 years ago, not 10 years ago. But I had the faith to do it. And there were some scary times along the way. There were some, I don't know if this is going to work, but it works. And I'm a much stronger, and I have a belief in me now that nobody can take away. I don't care who you are. I don't care what you think you can do to me. You're not going to deter my faith from success, from me achieving the type of success that I want to achieve. Am I close to where I want to be? Hell no. But I'm a lot further along than where I was. I've lived and done some amazing things that were very easily, I could have said no to earlier on, but I said yes to them. And they helped me dramatically along the way, whether it was going to events or talking with people or just having the balls to go say hello to somebody and pick their brain. And now I can pick up the phone and call those people. I mean, I look at my phone sometimes. I'm flipping through it for numbers. I'm like, oh my God, I forgot I had his number. I forgot I had this person in my phone, or I've got this author I need to reach out to. We exchanged it, and look, leverage your relationships. I think that's one of the biggest things people don't do. They get so prideful of where they're at. They don't pick up the phone and call and talk to people. They don't just ask, hey, what can I do for you? How can I help you? How can I help serve you? And if you reach out to those that are successful versus just asking for help or coming across kind of from a servant leadership, how can I help you? Can I help promote you? Can I help, testimonial? Can I do an email blast for you? I've got a speaking opportunity for you, or something. What I'm trying to get, these are the different things, or sending this, like I've got, this is a kind of a fun thing, the Crown Royal. Somebody got this knitted up for me, sent it over to me, which is kind of cool. Of course, it had the bottle in there. But anyway, what I'm trying to get at, everybody, is doing little things like that will help you go so much further, because it'll often give you an insight to somebody else who's walked that path before you. And if you talk to people that have walked the path before you, oftentimes they will help you avoid making mistakes along the way. They'll help you by detouring you along a path that may end up going to the ditch, or may end up wrecking you. One of the biggest things I've always kept in my mind was when I learned from Bob and Jamie, is I can remember Bob talking about how we had a small office. We actually officed out of a house where the bottom floor was 2 bedrooms. It was 3 bedrooms. They knocked the wall out between 2. And that's where we officed. We kept it small. It was a small shop. And I can remember Bob said he loves a small shop because he was agile, got more stuff done. He did not want the big shop, the big office, because it became an adult babysitting thing and became such a huge overhead anchor and weight around his neck or feet every month, the smaller he kept it. And so that's one of the things that we have always kept in our minds. Okay, yes, we add somebody, we want to make sure it's going to be good. Let's keep it small so we don't get into that. We're in over our heads. And that's what I love about the no industry is you guys don't have to have the big office. You can work from home, or your Starbucks or Whole Foods or wherever you're at, the beach or the hotels, with this business and make things happen. You just got to work it. You got to show up to work to make things happen. And especially over the last 5 years, there's been more things that have popped up in a good way that we've got to, can't have as much fun, but because we have a lot of great stuff to have, but it opens the doors to other avenues, if that makes sense, other ways of having fun that we never thought about before. So Casey asks, can I buy you a Boston Red Sox hat? Yeah, if you want to. You can give me one of those nice stretch hats because I got a big melon, Casey, kind of like you do. Sure, give me one of those dry fit stretch hats. Sure, I'll wear a Boston Red Sox hat. Sure, go right ahead. I'm a baseball fan, so sure. Give me a large. I have a big melon, large to extra large stretch fit hat. If you're going to send me one of those. Don't give me a fitted hat. Too hot. I like the stretch fit hat because I'll wear it more often then. All right, brother. So Casey, yeah, if you want to, feel free to. But anyway, guys, you're going to make mistakes. The thing you have to keep in mind, don't be afraid to make mistakes. Don't be afraid of the what ifs. Okay? Well, what if this goes wrong? Start thinking about what if it goes right? What if it does work? What if you do have the success that you're looking for? It's a whole different life at that point. It becomes a whole different success story. It becomes a whole different journey. And the biggest thing you could do is take more action. I think that's one of the most important things. At some point, you have to quit bullshitting yourself if you're not taking action. If you just talk a talk, you've got to go out and deliver. Look, I could have the biggest database of 100,000 people. It doesn't do me any good unless I'm reaching out to those people or communicating with those people. I have the biggest database in the world, but if I'm not doing any outreach to it or marketing that list, it's useless. I just wasted my time on the front end. So don't be afraid of making mistakes. Don't be afraid of doing things more yourself. Everybody that I've ever come across has been capable of doing this business on their own. They didn't need a business partner. Now, they could have had employees or they could have had vendors. That's a different thing, okay? but they could all do it on their own. Because there's enough knowledge out there, there's enough mentors out there that you can have your own business. You can have your own say. You can be the chief that's leading the Indians, okay? Or you can be the head chefs and letting the rest of the cooks get your stuff done for you. And that's what I think most people get so tied up in being. I think of it as no business as us being basically, I'll give you an example. I'm a Cowboys fan, so for those who don't like the Cowboys, tough, okay? Or like last night, you had the Patriots. You, as a note investor, you are more like the general manager, the owner of the team. You're like Bob Kraft of the Patriots or Jerry Jones of the Cowboys. They're not the guy that's going out and selling tickets. They're not the guys going out and selling concessions. They're not the guys they're not the Tony Romos or the Dak Prescotts or the Ezekiel Elliott's or the Tom Brady's. That doesn't mean you don't want a Tom Brady on your team. It's just that those guys are the people that put people in places. They put people to do things. They make the high-level decisions, and then they help delegate it off. And that's really what a good note investor is. You're like your own general manager of your own team. If you find yourself that you're doing all the workout initially, you're the ones that are going out and trying to do everything, you probably are a control freak, and you're going to end up failing because you're trying to do too much. Now, no, it doesn't mean you don't get involved. It doesn't mean you have oversight in what's going on. But you have to control this. At that point, you try to figure out what you're doing because you can live a great life and still delegate things off. You don't have to. And if you feel like, I have to do everything myself, that's your biggest mistake, is that philosophy. And then, yes, early on, you're going to be doing a lot of the things yourself. So until you're making money or get this thing down. I get that. You have to work your way up to that. Do I think of myself as Bob Kraft or Jerry Jones? No, we're doing pretty well. We're doing pretty well. But we can always take it to the next level. And the person that I compete with isn't where I'm at today. It's where I'm going to be at in 5 years or 10 years. That's the person I want to. When I turn 50 here in 9 years, I want to look back and realize that this last decade has been the most successful decade of my life. To this point, the last decade between I was 30 and 40 has been the most successful decade of my life. And that didn't come without some, woozies of problems and mistakes. But the last 10 years, there's been a lot more positives than negatives. And I've learned more from the negatives than I have from the positives. And those negatives have helped me make more positive decisions going forward. And so I think that's, unless you guys have any other questions or comments this morning, I think that's kind of where we're going to leave it at. So we're going to kind of go that route and see what's going on with you guys this morning. Anybody got any questions, comments? Not, and we'll wrap it up for the day. So today's Friday, everybody. If you're watching, thank you on Facebook Live. Great. We are less than a week out to Note Camp 4.0. Extremely excited. We're running a short-term special too for you guys that are interested. We're doing a 2-for-1 sale. What's that mean? I'm going to actually give you two things for the price of one. Now, Note Camp is a great starting point, great foundation base to learning from a lot of speakers. And a lot of people have been through our workshops before. Hey, this is a thing. It's a great way to come back and basically have continuing education every 6 months and hear from the different speakers and add more nuggets. But for those that are looking to really get started, we're going to do a 2-for-1 special. If you sign up for our December workshop, which is normally $6.99, we're going to give you Note Camp included with that. So, and we're also going to give you $100 off. So if you sign up for their December workshop at $5.99, we'll give you a ticket to Note Camp for free. So that's over $300 in savings, based on that stuff. Plus, you'll get the replays. You'll have the live interaction, live support, a special Facebook group. Several hundred people in it already. People are really utilizing that Facebook group, which is great to share and go from there. So, but 2-for-1, you can literally just go to WeCloseNotes.com, click on the virtual boot camp, virtual training, and the discount will pop up when you hit checkout. It shows $6.99, then you hit checkout, and you see $100 drops off, plus you get the 2-for-1. So take advantage of that. Special just runs through Wednesday of next week. So go to WeCloseNotes.com under the virtual training, click on it, the virtual training, you'll see it drops to $5.99, and it also includes a ticket to Note Camp. So short-term special there for you. We just believe that there's so much value in helping you out with that, and we try to make it affordable for you. Because that's one of the biggest things why we started Note Camp was to make it affordable so you don't have to jump on a plane. You don't have to buy an expensive conference ticket. You can save money from airfare and hotels and rental cars and crappy hotel food and literally dive into knowledge all from the comfort of your own home, office, or hotel, or wherever you're at. So anyway, guys, have a great day. Go make something happen. As always, if you'd like to register for our Monday Note webinars, all you've got to text the word is NIGHT, the word NIGHT, NIGHT, to the phone number 72,000, and that'll register you for all of our Monday Note webinars that we have through December. So stay tuned. You'll probably see an email out over the next couple of days regarding our topic for the next Note Night in America on Monday night. But otherwise, have a great day. Go make something happen. Go Astros. And we'll see you all at the top, everybody.